Well, again, thank you so much, Greg. We are practicing social distancing at its best. We're probably 20 miles away. First was up, San Diego, podcast recording live from my house. I know it's not too glamorous. Kids are out of school, so there's baby shit everywhere. Let's just be honest. People are just trying to stay sane and want to bring some positivity and just some good, highlight some local businesses in San Diego that are doing great things and are stepping up in the community. And then also, you work a lot with small businesses right now. And unfortunately, a lot of them are just getting hammered and because customers aren't there. And what can they do to maximize their time right now? Up their social media presence, up their online presence, SEO. You'd be surprised at how often y'all go on Yelp and they don't even have a Yelp page. So, doing some of those little things like that. What's kind of your take and what are you seeing out there?
So it's definitely been the whole, personality of America is definitely changing right now. It's definitely been an on-the-go atmosphere in America for, at least the last decade, definitely since social media and cell phones have taken over. And then now I think that, things are definitely moving kind of more closer to home. Like the other day I went on a long walk and it was people sitting in their front yards, drinking, hanging out. Whole families are going on walks, riding their bikes. Like it felt like the 90s. It was kind of weird. It was a throwback.
Building the fort out in the canyon out back. And
exactly. Like kids were actually riding their bikes around, like skateboarding on stuff. Like just you don't really get a chance to see that much anymore. So I think how that's going to kind of affect business is that I don't know, like I'm still processing it, but it's definitely not going to be as much as get it to me now, I think, as much as or turn and burn wastefulness. I think people are going to start caring a little bit more about who they buy from, where they buy from, buying local. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for, as you said, people going online and spending more time on social media, but especially for the small businesses to be able to get on the social media and be like, hey guys, we are here. And now that you can't buy from the big stores, like we do provide these services. And I think it's going to even give more opportunity for the small businesses to expand their services and just kind of be able to give more back to their communities. So I think what this is really going to happen is really push the small business community, like buying local, supporting local businesses. Because, before all this happened, you could, like every once in a while you would see a buy local post and people like yeah, support your small businesses, and you get like 2 likes.
It's big, I would say, in like Ocean Beach or some communities like that are very kind of local driven. I think we talked about this, I don't remember who it was, I think with Michael Perlin, but the Target, when they put that right down on the main drag, picketers out front, and a little off topic, but there's not enough supporting that local business, and hopefully this helps us as a community come together a lot more.
I'm really hoping that, especially because one of the purposes of my business is really promoting local and small business. Like, hey, like if you go give $100 to Albertsons or Costco or Walmart, like that money is not getting put back into your community. But if you go to your locally owned corner store, which I know mom and pop stores barely exist anymore, but you give them $100, like that's paying for their electricity bill. That's paying to put their kid in the local soccer club, So it's moving the money around, but it's moving the money around within your community, which I think is what needs to start happening more.
Gotcha. What are just, I'm a very big, this is what we need to do, but what are some action steps that you're seeing that, customers and clients can do to, hey, replace going to Ralph all the time and go to, People's, or go to some of the smaller shops like that?
Yeah. So I think that, like, as far as things like food and clothing, well, clothing maybe not, because people can make clothing out of their house, but like food supplies, I don't think that the groceries chain system is really going to change much, because they've gotten prices so low, and shipping and manufacturing everything to such a T that, you know, their margins are so low and hard to beat that, you know, it's really hard to enter into that market as a small business and compete with the prices that people are used to paying. But with pretty much every other service, I really think there's going to be an option to either expand upon their business and their services, or start a new business in almost any industry. And I think that in order for people to do that successfully, they need to learn how local search engines work. So like how Google and Yelp and Tesla and Siri and Alexa and all of these different search engines that people are using actually work. And it's actually very simple. It's just literally just listing your information, but knowing that you have to list your information on every single one of those individually. Like you can't just do like Google My Business and have it go everywhere.
And best practices, because there's, you know, keywords, strategies, and what are some simple steps that a small business can take? Other, you know, obviously reaching out to you to, you know, help facilitate that, but somebody who's on a, you know, bootstrap budget right now, who is seeing a major loss in revenue, but has a lot of time and can do a little bit of sweat equity now, kind of get it up and running, and then once they're going again, you know, outsource that to, you know, a company like yours. But what are some best practices for them?
So obviously there's the manual practice of just going online, just do your search, do your due diligence, and find what are the biggest search tools that Google uses to reference your local searches. And then just pull that up, and then you just go to each one of them and submit your information. There are programs available that will do it for you that are very inexpensive. Like we offer that service through us. It's only $100 a month, even with our money on top of it. So it's very inexpensive, and that will automatically list all of your services across over 100 platforms.
So it's basically a syndication website that pushes it out to everybody else.
Exactly. And then because like some of them, they only accept your information once or twice a year, and then they don't even always accept it. So you always need to be submitting. So it's kind of annoying, and that's only a handful of them that are really annoying. But yeah, so I mean, but it's things like Yelp. Like Yelp is very important for local search. I know that there's a lot of hate on Yelp with how much basically the Susans of the world that get on, or no, the Karens. Karen's the name that everyone's using. The Karens of the world that get on and just rip on businesses for no reason. Because they just are unhappy with their own lives. So it's kind of got a bad stigma, especially in like the food and bev industry. But
even service industry, I feel like people kind of rip on them. But, you know, personally, me, if I see somebody who has 300 stars and they're all 5 stars, it's kind of like, well, what's really going on? And this is just my own 2 cents on it, versus there's always going to be the occasional mishaps, and responding to those inquiries that were low, possibly change them, but shows that you care. You know, my biggest problem with Yelp, you know, personally as a business owner, is getting the reviews to stick. You know, if somebody hasn't written a lot of reviews in the past, how do you stick to where like a restaurant or service company, I'm just going to throw out like a carpet cleaning service company, where they're dealing with a lot of clients, have a huge database, versus, you know, somebody, for example, in kind of the real estate industry, who maybe has, you know, a good one, 20 clients a year. So the percentage of the clients from that small pool to get those to stick is much more difficult than a, you know, higher client base carpet cleaning company. How are some best practices just to get that to stick?
So you're right on that. It's like if you only have 20 reviews, one bad one totally skews your numbers, versus if you have 200, a bad one doesn't do much. So a way to combat that, it's called reputation marketing. So basically you're putting in effort to get reviews. So again, there's programs and systems out there that can help put it all in one place. Like there's a program again, one that we offer all of these services. So, but basically what it does, it takes all of your reviews and puts it in like one platform, one dashboard, so you can see them in one place, and easily manage them. Sometimes you can't do the actual like responding through the platforms. You actually have to go to the website, but it'll let you know when everything comes in, so you can stay on top of it, which is very important if you have a negative review, to get it as fast as you can and to be able to respond, because they can change their reviews. But then also basically doing outgoing marketing, asking for reviews. So like if you have a small cafe or something, and basically on the door you can be like, sign up to give a review. Like it's literally just asking people to do it. People don't know to do it unless you ask to do it.
Yep.
Little table tents on your tables being like, hey, please leave us a review, and then next time you get a free cup of coffee or a muffin with your coffee or something like that. Or if
Yep.
you're a carpet cleaning company, when you're having them sign off on the end being like, hey, we finished the job, are you happy with it? Yes. Cool. Can you please go on your phone right now and leave a review, and do it with them right there? And then
Yeah.
so you might, yeah, you might only have 20 clients a month, but out of those 20 people, be like, hey, do you mind leaving a review? Like, boom, here you go. Be like, if you leave a review right now, I'll knock $20 off your service.
Yeah.
You know?
And we live in a review-based economy right now. I'm a firm believer. And, you know, perfect example is, I'm just going back to the way that I search for products too, is when you're on Amazon and there's something with 1,000 reviews and it's very high versus something with 30, it's like, it's just instantaneous. Who are you going to go with?
Exactly.
And it's the same kind of thing with businesses, unless it's, you know, a referral who isn't Googling you and finding out who you are, et cetera. All coming back to kind of that web presence for, you know, yes, you have a referral, but you also want to have the reputation in the background to support, hey, yes, let's absolutely 100% go with him, versus I can't even find this guy. Wazaloo is a very hard last name. Like I'm the only one out there. When you Google my ass, you're finding me, and only me. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Nobody can spell it. Hence the name Waz.
Now I get the Waz Up San Diego.
Yeah, I see. You're like, what's this guy doing? It's like, what's that? So, but yes, it's not like Wazaloo Companies just doesn't have the same.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody even knows how to pronounce it. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. That's gotta be fun. I had to deal with some of that. So I go by my middle name because my first name is David, but I'm the third David, so I go by my middle name. So does my dad. But growing up every day in class, like first day of teachers, like David is like, it's Greg, you know, my whole life. And it's like, I should have just let him go with it at some point. But getting back to the reviews, it's the reviews are so powerful because people trust when other people sell something for you more than when you try to sell something yourself. It's like I used to do a lot of door-to-door sales, and it was always you'd work in a neighborhood for over and over and over again until you started getting sales in the neighborhood. Because then once you got 1 or 2 sales in a neighborhood, you could easily get 7, 8, 9, 10 more on just that street, because you'd be like, yeah, you know, John down in the end on the cul-de-sac, yeah, he bought from me yesterday. And then the next day be like, all right, now you know Beverly, she just bought from me. Johnny and Beverly bought from me. And people get that, and they're like, okay, like these other people that I know, even if they don't know them that well, which given digital reviews, you don't have to know them at all to prove the point. But that makes people way more and more comfortable with buying it, just knowing that somebody else bought it. So that's absolutely it. Like you see one person with 30 reviews or somebody with 1,000 reviews, you're gonna be like, all right, yeah, like 1,000 people at least bought this one and liked it.
So it sounds like that's definitely one item that, you know, some of the small businesses, implement a plan to create the structure, you know, even if it's a template, once it's closed, if you're not face to face with the client, say, hey, you know, it goes a long way. Can you leave a review? And then reaching out to past clients and asking to get them going. And, you know, personally, I think Google and Yelp are 2 of the bigger ones. Are there any other platforms, depending on the industry, you know, contracting industry, like maybe Angie's List or something like that, but are there any other platforms that you see that are up and coming or people should focus on? Or should they just go all in on 1 or 2 and really build that up?
I would say for like local searchings, Definitely 100% everything you can into Google and Yelp, but also Alexa and Siri, because a lot of people are moving to voice and those use their own search databases.
Really? So
So
how do you get, I guess,
you just have
reviews?
to go in and submit to them. But so that's literally just a listings thing. And then it will then take you to Google. But yeah, all of those systems have their own closed loop systems that they will not pull information from other places if you're not listed with them. So
Gotcha.
you can literally be right in front of a coffee shop or a taco shop and be like, taco shop near me, into your phone, and it won't pop up.
So how do people get on? Because there's so many different, well, I guess there's not that many. Siri, Alexa, Google Home, I would say the big three.
Mm-hmm.
You see that's accurate. So they have to go create a profile on each one of those
Yeah,
platforms.
now they're getting better at talking to each other. I think
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of 2021, all of the big tech companies just entered into an agreement to start sharing information, so that multiple reasons. So the big thing is really trying to create like a smart home type of society. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different devices and different brands coming out now that they want everything to be able to talk to each other, so that people can actually make their homes effective, as far as being like a smart home. So smart car, smart home, smart office.
No matter what
So
platform they're in,
yeah.
they're all kind of.
So it's so kind of where I'm saying, like, before I was like, you need to enter your information. That is getting better, where they're starting to learn to talk to each other more.
Okay.
And then so sometimes, so it's, there's kind of like a weird like line. So if you're like if you don't have like any presence on Google, so the example I was just saying, if you're like in front of a taco shop and you say taco shop, and that taco shop has zero presence, like no rankings, no reviews, any of that, it's not going to pop up. But once it starts gaining kind of like status, I guess, digital
Mm-hmm.
status, then it kind of will popping up on its own. But that's just because it's not 40 pages down in the search reviews anymore. It's because it has its own SEO. So once a business has, kind of like the cross line, once it reaches a certain point of SEO, then it will kind of start popping up. But in order to get there before you reach that point, you need to go and manually put in the information. But like I said, so I think it's beginning of 2021, everything has to be able to start talking to each other, like via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, or accessing, so that you can have like your Ring doorbell going, your automatic lights from another company, the Siri on your phone, all of it will be able to start talking to each other and pulling information from each other. And I think that's going to enter into a really wonderful time in technology advancements within the home, office, car
Oh,
situations.
absolutely, I agree. A
So
lot of people are kind of worried that it's listening, but it's just there's nothing you can do to stop that unless you just
mm-mm.
go to the middle of nowhere where there's no internet service.
Yeah,
It's just it is what it is.
and then they still
Um,
have satellites.
yeah, yeah, and the world's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They will find you.
Yeah.
But if anybody is not very tech savvy and they want to reach out to you directly to kind of help implement this and use your services, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can either go to my website, thegentlemangorilla.com. There are some contact forms on there, or you can find me on any social media. It's all just the Gentleman Gorilla. And then, yeah, just send a message, be like, hey, we'd love for you to just do a review of our business and our digital presence, and kind of see where we might need some help and what we can do to help. So
Perfect. Well, I love it. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to chat with me. Definitely a first. I'm sure it won't be the last with all the Zoom calls. I actually love it. We're doing it conference calls at our company right now. It's like there's 100 of us, and it's like, damn, I haven't seen you forever. But like now I'm seeing you every day at 8:30. I
right.
love it, and I think this is going to be implemented, and also something that more people should do, because even like doing interviews with people, just it's so easy. The comfort of my home.
It really is
comfortable. We got a lot of kids around here screaming at lunch and dinner. I love you guys. But again, so thegentlegorilla.com.
The gentleman.
Gentle. I apologize.
You're all good.
Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show, Greg. I'm going to kind of sign out, and if anybody has any questions, make sure you're reaching out to them.
Absolutely. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Have a good one.
Have a good one.